Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again. Today we're gonna do more repairs on my Fox body. So if you have any old vehicle, not just a Fox body, but anything that's at least 20 years old, you're gonna have issues with coolant leaking. The heater core on this thing has been leaking enough where it actually leaves puddles of coolant on the floor. And also when you turn the heater on, you get that fog on the window and it smells like coolant inside the cab. So we're gonna go ahead and take care of that. You could bypass the heater core, but I'm just gonna replace it. So in order to replace it, we do have to pull the dash, center console, steering column. It's not that difficult to do, but it does take some doing. I've never done them on any Fox bodies, but I've done them on other vehicles. I think it's pretty much the same thing. So let's get started. I'll try to walk you exactly what you have to do. I mean, we're both gonna find out at the same time, but I'll show you what I'm doing. So if you have to do this, it'll make it easier so you don't make the mistakes. I'll make them for you. So the first thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to take the steering column cover off, this off, this like knee bolster cover. There's a big metal panel under there, and then we're gonna have to drop this steering wheel. So let's get started. So luckily for us, Ford doesn't really change the size of fasteners, so we're probably gonna only be dealing with 7s and 8s and, you know, screwdriver. So there's 2 screws that hold this cover on. And one's kind of funky. That's where this button is for the key release. It's right next to that. Let's pull this cover off. And we also got to remove the sill plate and that I guess lower valence right there. And usually these are held on by clips, but since this car has been modified somewhat, this is loose. So this mine has an aftermarket alarm, and here's the cancel switch. So I'm gonna have to take that off. As you can see, all that wiring right there, that's from the aftermarket stereo. Just got to be careful with all that. Under here there's 3 8mm, and these hold this plastic part on also. It just has a couple panel clips. Easy peasy. Now you got to remove this piece so you can get to the bolts for the steering column. All we're gonna do is drop this steering column, and then that way we can angle the dash out of the way. And same thing, this is held on by a couple of 8s. All right, so under here there are a few bolts that hold the steering column. So we're gonna move this. That'll give us enough to move this out of the way. So down here there's 4 bolts. One there, and these 2 in the back. I hope you can see them with my finger. You remove those, and that'll drop this steering column. That long bolt right there, you just need to loosen it so you can slide the dash off of the frame. I'm pretty sure these are 13s. Negative. They're 15s. Because we're gonna alrighty. What's stuck here? Make sure that nothing is gonna get in the way. So that's as far as the steering column has to go. It just needs to rest on the seat right here. Now we're able to get the bolts to get the dash off. We got to take some stuff up here, and then we can move it. So this cover just pops off. It's already missing this. There's usually a screw that holds it right there. If this one's missing it, so there you go. And just be very careful with all this stuff. Oh, look at that! It's got several Vega speakers. It's fancy, huh? Pull this out of the way. Got to pull this speaker cover off. There's that 7mm that's missing on the other side. Then next thing I got to pull this vent cover because the screws are back there. You want to be real careful when removing these plastic pieces because they've been sitting in the sun and everything is brittle. Take your time with it. Next thing I got to do is remove the center console. Move that. Move that. That can stay. I believe that stays. What else needs to come off? Oh yeah, there's 2 screws right there. Alright. Alright, so that was easier than I thought. You just pull this part up and then the back just kind of unhooks from it. So I made it harder than it was supposed to be. 2 more screws and I should be able to pull this up out of the way. So I was over here trying to get this connector off and these 2 things. That's a little difficult to get off. But look at that. There's a connector right here. Duh. Easy peasy. So it looks like this is part of the center console. So I probably got to get rid of those 2 screws on each side. And it should come off. Let's try it. So now, what's holding it? But there's 2 screws on the side right here that are holding this in place. So got those 4 screws off and it looks like, there you go. What a pain in the butt. My shorty shifter is sure making this a little bit harder than it should be, I guess. All right, what we're gonna do is just take the lever off. A couple of 14mm nuts that are holding the lever to the trans. Alright, so now that's out of the way, those 7mm off. So next, there's the 8 right there and the 8 on the other side. And I think once I remove that, I think the dash is loose. Yep. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Now I gotta remove these 2 13mm and I gotta go under the hood and remove some other 13mm so I can get this down. Oh man, they're a pain in the butt. See that bolt right there? That 10 and the other 10? We need to get that off so we can get to everything. I gotta get this bracket out of the way to get to those 10mm that are right there. And the easiest way to do that is just to loosen up the mounting right here. Don't lose that bolt. Remove the bracket. All right, once the bracket's out of the way, you get these other bolts. We'll go ahead and loosen up the hoses while I'm here. All right, so there's one more that I didn't get. Should have got this before I pulled the dash out. It's a little hidden down here. Let me see. Told you guys I've never done this. So we're all learning at the same time. All right, so I had to remove the AC accumulator. Nowhere does it say that you don't have to, but I had to do it. So there That's 8mm back there. That's the last one I gotta remove. I'm pretty sure there's one back there that I think I just have to loosen to get the box up. There's one there and that one right there. And then I should be able to sneak this heater core out of the way. And there's obviously 10 different ways to do this, but this is one of the ways where you don't have to take too much apart. Now you do have to wrestle with the dash and with the different things, but I feel this is easier than having to remove the whole dash way out of the car. Oh, there it goes. What a pain in the butt this is. There it goes. Alrighty. Alright, so you can see it's pretty jacked up in there, pretty dirty. Get a rag, clean all that up, put the new one back in, and then start reassembling. Well, there we go, guys. Pretty late out here, but I finally got it done. Hoses are on, new hose clamps, all those bolts are back on. Should work out okay. Here was the old one. As you can see, it is pretty leaky. All right, guys, it is the next day. Got it done. Now's the fun part, though. I got to check to see that everything works, because I did have the dash out. I want to make sure that all my connectors that I did disconnect are reconnected and working, and make sure that doesn't leak anymore. All right, ignition's on, radio's on. That seems to be working. Let's start it up. Ugh. Look at all that dust. Well, the good part is it no longer stinks. It used to smell like coolant really, really bad. And this was the old heater core. And this is the original one. Look, it has the Ford Motor Company number on it. So it was never replaced. This is the original part. Pretty crazy, huh? But that is, check the coolant hoses. No leaks. No more stinky car. I'm just gonna let it warm up and make sure that the heater works and that there's no air bubbles. Because we did disconnect the cooling system. Barely any cooling came out, but it did come out, so we're gonna do that. Now I know you can't see it, but it's nice and warm. Not stinky anymore. Coming out of the defroster vent. Not stinky, not fogging up the windshield. So we're gonna call that done. So glad I got it done. Now I don't have to worry about overheating, because I do plan to drive this on a big long road trip eventually. We'll figure something out. But anyways, guys, thank you once again for joining me. Please like and subscribe if you're liking the content. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like. Costs you nothing, helps me out tremendously. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.